Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Pop Culture Curators, and Wednesday reviews of Gilligan's Island. My co-host, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, should be along shortly. I thought I'd get the, I thought I'd get the stream started to say hello to everybody and welcome. If you're here on the rerun, then I hope you enjoy the show. And if you'd like, please hit the like and the subscribe button and click the little alert bell. And we've noticed lately that YouTube has not exactly been sending out the alerts like it should. So if you can, please share this video out to as many people as you can. This is a small channel that's kind of growing. So any shout outs that anyone can give is highly appreciated. Today we are going to be covering two excellent episodes. Well, I think they're all excellent, in my opinion. But today we're still on season one of Gilligan's Island, and today we'll be covering episode 9, The Big Gold Strike, as well as episode 10, Waiting for Watubi. And I know this is the eve of a big holiday tomorrow, Thanksgiving. So I know there's a lot of busy people out there. So if people can't make it into the show or into the stream or in the chat, that's totally fine. I understand. I almost postponed this stream for tonight because I know there's a lot of people, like I said, are going to be busy. But I figured, what the hey, might as well go for it anyway. So I'll make sure. There may be a little bit of delay here. Sorry, I'm not used to doing this on my own, but we will be up and running here soon. Hail, Ola Greg, so good to see you. I'm so glad you came by. I was just saying that I don't know how many people are going to be here because I know it's Turkey Day tomorrow, or a lot of people are either traveling or cooking and getting ready for tomorrow, or some people are even out. Bars are really hot tonight, so which is why I'm not out driving. I don't want to drive out in that mess and have any issues. And I'm sure the police are out on full alert, so I don't want to get pulled over, even though I'm not drinking. I figured, let's leave the streets open. If you don't have to drive tonight, then it's best probably not to. Also, make it easier for them. And hello, Gorilla.
Hey there.
Gorilla, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Very cool. You getting your cooking done for Thanksgiving? Are you already done? Did you finally get that turkey out of the freezer?
Oh, I'm getting an extra frozen for that hot fryer. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Right.
Don't do that. I got it seasoned and I got the Worcester on it. I got my Mountain Man bourbon rub on it, and it has to thaw out a little bit more. But the nice thing about a smoker is that it doesn't need to be completely thawed out. It
Oh,
won't.
that's cool.
Well, like it should be as thought out as possible, but it's still a tiny bit frozen there. It'll still cook, there. And hey there, Oiler Greg.
Yes, Ola Gray here. Hello, Ola Greg. Hail, so good to see you. And Ola Greg says holiday is busy time for everyone. Yes, it is. And Ola Greg says hi, Gorilla. Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about you yesterday, Gorilla. I was at the grocery store grabbing a few things, and guess what? They're not even selling hams. So I think what a lot of what's going on is California, at least here in California, they've been passing regulations to make pork more and more expensive. They don't want people eating it because we've all heard about how they're wanting to cut back the world population and they want us to eat bugs. So what they're doing is they're starting with meat, and they're starting to tax meat and make it harder to get and more expensive to get. So they started with pork. Next will be beef and chicken and all that. So that's basically what's going on in California. So even if I wanted to go buy a ham, they're non-existent at the store. Like I said, they didn't even have a shelf or an area for the hams.
Yeah, well, in California, there didn't they make it that the pens have to be like 36 square feet instead of 24 square feet or something like that?
Right, that's what they did. They're making the regular, and they're doing that intentionally. It's not like they're doing it because they want to make the world a better place. They're doing it because they're trying to get rid of the farmers. They're trying to make it where it's practically impossible to farm, and where if you do farm, you're going to end up losing money. That's intentionally how they do everything here. They restrict it. That's how they do the power. That's how they do the water. Everything they restrict it to make it harder to get. Therefore, make it more expensive, and that way it's only available to the elites. It's not a coincidence. And Ola Greg says Soylent Green was set in 2022. You're right, Ola Greg. Ola, Soylent Green is an excellent movie starring Charlton Heston and Edward G. Robinson. And I was just watching it again a week or so ago, and wow, it's really fascinating when you look at it how it's not come completely to reality, but it's not surprising. But the plot of it is basically about the world being overpopulated and not being enough resources, not enough food, and which we all know is a hoax. Just like certain other things out there. I don't want to get my channel stricken, but it's a hoax along with other things. And Ola Greg says they are evil, Pop. Yes, they are. I saw that video. Another celebrity, I think it was Tom Hanks, saying how we need to start eating bugs, and it's like, okay, no more Tom Hanks movies for me. In fact, I have a server with thousands of movies, and I think I'm going to go in and just erase all the Tom Hanks movies because when the movie stars stick their nose into it and they ruin it for me, I know a lot of people say, well, I can separate the star from their movies, but I can to a certain extent. You know, I know William Shatner is a big ego, but I'm still going to watch Captain Kirk. But certain celebrities, when they open their mouths wide enough, loud enough, and stupid enough, I won't watch their movies anymore. It ruins it for me. And Oleg Greg says we are getting closer to it. Yes, we are in Porch. And you know, Oleg Greg, that's by design. By the way, that's by design. I just shared a tweet on Twitter on tweet about a movie called Sudden Death, Suddenly Death. But anyway, it's exactly about how they've been designing intentionally, and Bill Gates is one of the masterminds. Bill Gates and Fauci to cut. Well, if I say any more, my channel's going to get stricken. I'm sure of it. Oleg Greg, we have plenty of food. Yes, we do. We do. But that's not what they want us to think. Oleg Greg says, I ignore the idiots if possible. You can, but the problem is Oleg, that they're running the country now, and I think that us regular level-headed people have lost the war because we're not as radical. And you know, as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So the loudest people out there are the ones that have taken over. And Oleg Greg says, we will defeat them, Pop. Stay positive. Well, I'm
Yeah,
old, Oleg Greg, so I don't think if we defeat them, it's not going to be in my lifetime.
Around.
Well, let me put it this way.
You might be surprised, but
all right, let me ask you a question. How many people do you think out there believe that the elective system in the U.S. is still straight and not compromised?
It's compromised, but if we stick together, we will win.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is that's the first thing you have to fix, right? Is the election system. If it's compromised, then it's too late. Because that means we're never going to get an honest person ever in office ever again. That means we're only going to get the narrative they want to push because that's all they're going to allow to get into office. I mean, obviously, right? But sorry, I know we're supposed to be talking about Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, let's get on Gilligan's Island here before, so that people don't.
I know, especially if there's people listening on the rerun. They're like, "What is this? I thought this guy's supposed to be talking about Gilligan's Island." So Oleg Greg says, "Doesn't matter. We will win." Well, keep our toes crossed, right? Okay. So, like I said, our first episode we're going to be covering. Gorilla. Is there anything you want to say before we get started?
No, we're good. Let's get her started.
Let's get her started. All right. Oh, and I wanted to share something else with you, Gorilla. You remember that little copyright strike I told you about last week?
Yeah.
Okay, I spoke to LDG, and he thinks that I'm doing. I need to spread. You know how I'm doing still images, right? It's like a slideshow.
Yeah.
Okay, what I did is I basically spoke to LDG and Berta Pay at the same time. They were on LDG stream, and I showed them what was going on. I showed them the copyright warning, and they said, don't show so many frames in sequence. So basically break them down to every 10 seconds. Because I was shown like once every 3 seconds, once every 5 seconds. And they said that's probably what it is that got the strike. So that's what I'm going to do this week, is I'm going to try to cut it down to every 10 seconds if I can. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And I apologize for everybody watching the show like that. I hate to change abruptly how we're doing this, but I don't think I'm going to have much choice. And I'm right now I'm in here trying to adjust the settings. You can actually change the settings. I'm using VLC player, and you can actually go in and change the settings of how often that when you hit skip, how many seconds it will skip, which I'm doing now. Bear with me. Should have done that before I started the stream. And of course, now that I'm in here, I can't find it, of course. But I'll do my best here. Okay, so let me share my window. Uh, I, is your cat hungry?
Here, just a sec.
No problem.
Yeah,
Tell
no.
them.
Hey, anybody? I am doing a drawing at the end of the stream. If anybody wants a cat in heat, just sign up for the drawing there. All you have to do is pay for shipping.
A cat in heat. Wow. That your cat is hot to trot, is it?
Mm. Yeah, she's looking for a friend.
Yeah, but I want to remove it. Okay, I'm trying. There. Wow, what a pain. Oh, hopefully, yeah. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for muting because I was panicking, like looking around, saying, "What's going on?"
I didn't even think I had that power. I didn't think I had that power.
Yeah, I selected play, our show from a video file, and it started playing, and it gave me no control over it. It wouldn't stop. It wouldn't do anything. So my mistake for doing that. I apologize. And let me reload up my subtitle. What a, how embarrassing. I apologize, everybody out there listening. All right, this time we're going to try to do this the right way.
Yeah, according to oh, come on, you're a ginger guy, Oler Greg. Oh, come on, you gotta go with Marianne. It's Marianne you gotta go for.
Well, if he's a ginger guy, it doesn't matter. He can go for Ginger or Marianne.
I'm just giving him crap for it.
I know. Okay, so here we are. Of course, that's going to be blocking my window. We have our opening. And we have Gilligan. And we have our opening here on the island. And here's where Mr. Howell is golfing. And good old Gilligan is his caddy.
Here's the thing I got on this episode here is, what the hell? This is where I was saying that Mr. Howell hardly does a damn thing there. Especially, who makes their wife go mine the fucking gold?
Well, you got to remember, we haven't got to that part yet, but no spoilers. I know this is an old show. But remember now, she's rich too, so she's got that greed in her blood too. And plus, it goes to show that Lovey Howell is never lazy.
That's the only work I've ever actually seen her do, though.
She's helped on the island. Well, they didn't really actually show it, but she helped build the Howell hut. Her and the Howells both did that. But as far as labor, right, she does not do a lot of labor, no. But usually Mr. Howell does sometimes Mr. Howell will step in and do the labor for her. But in general, Mr. and Mrs. Howell usually skirt off the work and don't do it, which is how it probably would be in real life. I totally forgot that I was going to read part of this book again. I got so confused because I got behind.
Yeah, so
well, okay.
According to Oiler Greg, Ginger needs more. Yeah, according to Oiler Greg, Ginger needs more love. I appreciate her more the older I get.
Well, when you think about it too, is she really kind of got the short end of the stick. Not only did Marianne get the most fan letters, but when you watch Ginger on this show, she's very love lost, and you can tell. There's a couple times where I think if this was real life, I really think that she would be in love with the professor, because I can see a certain chemistry sometimes when she's trying to convince him to do something.
She does that to everybody, though.
Well, you mean, well, she usually does it to the professor, Gilligan, or Skipper. Usually Gilligan. But if they were real people, I could see her probably ending up with the professor. And but that's a discussion for a different day.
Yeah.
So yes.
Oh, we got 3 comments here. I'm gonna try to do them in 3 comment bursts here. Oiler Greg says, Howells aren't greedy, just privileged. Yes,
I'm sure rich people would agree. Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead.
Okay, and just what the hell's this thing? Okay, I can't get to the next. There we go. All right, and welcome. They called me nobody. Welcome to the
Hail!
show.
Yes, hail. They call me nobody. Thank you for coming to my channel. Yeah, I remember who you are. We've been on panels together, and you've got a great channel. He works on cars and engines.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And they say best episode ever is the one with the giant spider in the cave. So cheesy but hilarious. I don't think I remember that one.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it's the same cave that we visited a few episodes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode with the spider, you're right, is a good one. It is very memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. They call me nobody. I hope you like this. If you enjoy this, then please hit the like and subscribe and share it out. I do Gilligan's Island on Wednesdays and Star Trek the animated series on Monday. And here's the Howell, Mr. Howell and Gilligan. And so, well, where's that avocado pit, Mr. Howell? I'm hoping. By the way, last week I was having trouble with sound issues, so I kind of nailed down all my wires and pretty much and set. I think I've got them to where they won't move. If my sound starts cutting out like it did last week, please let me know, Gorilla.
Okay. I found out though if I got Minecraft open, the sound cuts out for you.
That'll make sense. That'll make sense because it'll cut down on the resources and the bandwidth. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And here they are, lost the golf course, and you call yourself a caddy. So.
Hey, I think it'd be impossible to play golf on that island with as many trees as there is.
It would be very difficult, and you probably spend most of your time looking for the ball like they're doing, or in this case, avocado pit.
Yeah, I think it'd just be impossible there. There's too many trees.
Well, you know what's funny is that in real life, Mr. Howell there, Jim Backus, and Alan Hale Jr., the skipper, actually were big golf fans, and they actually played golf a lot right there where the lagoon is. Yeah. Have you heard about that?
That they're playing golf by the lagoon?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Okay, during the breaks on the show, during when they're not filming, like during lunch break, when they're resting in between scenes.
Yeah.
Mr. Howell, I need to get their names straight, but Jim Backus and Alan Hale Jr., Howell and Skipper, would go over to where the lagoon set is, which is set, of course, right in the middle of downtown LA, right next to the soundstage, and it was actually outdoors, and just beyond the end of the lagoon where they have the row of trees, it was the Hollywood Freeway and a big parking lot. So Mr. Howell and Skipper would often play golf during breaks, and unfortunately, sometimes their golf balls would go completely over the lagoon and break windows in the cars in the parking lot, and also hit cars that were going along the freeway. And they got warnings from the producer, from the police had been getting reports about the golf balls, so they kind of got a warning. They had to kind of tone that down.
That'd be a hell of a lawsuit there if you drive along the freeway, you get hit by the golf ball.
Right. Well, in downtown LA, people are going, "What is this? There's no golf course around here." But lo and behold, the set for the lagoon was just beyond the other side of the wall. And here we are, wondering where the ball is, or avocado pit, which it still looks like a ball to me. Does not look like an avocado pit, but I guess it's kind of hard to tell from this distance.
Yeah. Okay. Oiler Greg says, "Remember that spider is there waiting in every episode. He's there in this one, but we don't see him."
Right. He's pretty big, so it's he's got to be a really old spider, right?
Yeah. And Oiler Greg says, "I like to think that spider is watching from the trees always." And welcome, Pickles. How's it going, Pickles?
Hail, LDG. It's so good to see you, LDG. I'm breaking it up where I'm not going to do these. Like I'm taking your advice. I was just telling Gorilla about what you guys were saying about spreading the slides out, which I'm doing. So I'm not going to be as descriptive, and I'm not. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to read as many of the subtitles as I was before because I don't know if that could have been part of the striking or not. So I'm going to do the best I can to change what I'm doing and make this straight and not upset YouTube. Okay. And here's where Gilligan looking for the ball, and he happens to discover a big hole. Which, of course, this is the first time we've discovered this hole on the island, right, Gorilla?
Yeah, yeah. It's like how did they miss that a hole that big?
Well, you got to remember there's certain shots of that island that shows big mountainous terrain in the background. So, like I said, I think that mountain is supposed to be relatively, or that I think that island is supposed to be fairly big, and I think they still haven't quite discovered or explored the whole thing yet.
Yeah, and welcome there, Gap After Dark. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, Gap After Dark, so glad to see you here.
And we got a thumbs up from LDG.
Thank you, LDG. And Gilligan accidentally falls into the pit where he
Now,
notices the ball. Yes.
now I watched this scene very carefully. There, you can clearly see Bob Denver just jump in there.
Well, he kind of
But
rolls over into the pit.
no, but you can see he did it on purpose.
Well, that's very
Like
likely.
no, no. If you rewatch the scene, you can see he clearly just kind of launches his feet and jumps in.
I would not be surprised.
And other Greg says, "Spider hole." Yeah, Gap's laughing. Well, saying hi, and then they're saying hi back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys are here. I hope you guys have a great turkey day tomorrow. Or today, depending on where you're at. So Gilligan accidentally falls in the hole, and here comes Mr. Howell looking for him. And of course, Mr. Howell looking everywhere but down.
Now, I didn't watch this one as closely, but I'm pretty sure he did the same thing Gilligan did.
Sort of, kind of. He's bending over trying to look and see what's going on. And he's talking to Gilligan. And there's Gilligan down there, and he says, "Yes, I found the golf ball pretty much." And as you can see, there's a shiny substance behind them on the walls and the rocks. And of course, Mr. Howell is going to spot it and ask him, "What is that stuff on the wall?" And here's, of course, where Mr. Howell bends down to look closer.
Yeah. And Gap says he loves the show. He always laughs his ass off.
It's still a great show. It's timeless too. I like it. It's timeless. You can't look at it and easily date it when it was made, which I really like. And Gilligan here spotted the gold stuff. He says, "You mean this yellow stuff? It looks like gold." And there's Gilligan saying he thinks it is. And there's Mr. Howell. I like that. It's actually Jim Backus doing his own stunt, falling into the hole.
He did
And
his own
Mr.
stunts.
definitely did his own stunts, yes. Well, when he found out that Natalie Schaefer was doing her own stunts, and she was older than him, he wasn't about to not do his own stunts. In fact, it's hard to. I'm trying to think about. I'll do the research as we're watching this show, but there's not many scenes where they use stunts in any of their episodes, or they use stuntmen or stunt people. They, in most cases, they usually do their own stunts. If there's any cases while we're watching this throughout the series that they do use stunt people, I'll point them out. But if they do, it's not very often.
Yeah, and Gap says, "Yeah, likewise. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody." And well, Greg goes, "Gobble gobble, gobble gobble."
I'm gonna miss ham this year, I guess. And Gilligan asked Mr. Howell if he's okay. He said, "Yes, I'm hurt a little, but I'm richer." Of course, that's all that cares. That gold's gonna make that pain go away.
You
And now
know,
we cut.
I was
Yes.
kind of surprised in this show here how much everybody let Mr. Howell exploit Gilligan.
Well, pretty much. Well, don't they all in one way or another?
Yeah, but not to this extent. Paying him a measly salary there, while Mr. Howell gets all the gold.
Well, of course, Mr. Howell is going to trick him into getting a bigger cut, which is basically what he's doing.
Yeah, but the others shouldn't have let Mr. Howell get away with that, doing that to Gilligan.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. And here we have the lovely ladies fishing. And in my opinion, just to be nitpicking, is Marianne is supposed to be from a farm in Kansas, and I think she would be good at fishing. Because if she's raised on a farm, she's got to be great at fishing because most farm people do fish.
Yeah,
So
it's
they should have showed her be a little more experienced with that fishing pole, in my opinion.
and here there is another example of Marianne doing most of the work versus what Ginger, even though they're always together, it's always Marianne doing most of the work.
Yes, it is. Like cooking and right sewing and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yes. Well, because that's their characters. Of course, Ginger's still going to act her character. And she's wearing that dress, of course, that was made from the sale of the Minnow. And here's where she's asking about their bait. How many did we start with? And unfortunately, they pretty much lost all their bait, and now they're on their last fish. And she casts out her line, and it looks like they've caught something. And the skipper happens to be passing by and notices and rushes out to help them. Yes, what does Gap have to say?
Gap says Mr. Howell created the heart of the deal first.
Right. Well, he's Thurston Howell the third, so he's probably got a lot of experience from his father and grandfather, I imagine.
Now that there would be splicing open the skipper's hands. That'd be
I know it would be strong.
hurt.
Yes. Yeah, it
Yeah,
would.
I worked with enough fishing line that'd be hurting his hands like no tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a chance that he would get cut.
Unless the fishing line from the 60s was a lot different than the fishing line of today.
Or I'm wondering if they made their own fishing line from something on the island.
Well, they had the fishing pole from the first episode.
Well, they did, and they had line. I don't know if they still have line or if they ran out. They haven't shown.
Well, fishing line will last you a long time there, as long as you're not catching the major big fish, which seems like they're not. That fishing line will last them a long time.
Right.
So unless they're continuously getting snagged and having to snap it, they'd run out of hooks before they ran out of fishing line.
Well, no, yeah, that's true. I was thinking about that, hooks and weights and things like that. And of course, they're clearly looking at what they're pulling in, and the skipper still says, whatever it is, it might be playing possum, and you can clearly see it's not a fish.
Well, maybe at the angle he's looking at, he doesn't know what the hell it is.
Well, he does start to act right. He does, but as it closer gets, he acting more confused. This is the point where he realizes once he grabs it, what it really is.
So here's a question: why are they fishing in the lagoon versus off the beach?
Well, because for the beach, they'd have to film that in Hawaii, and they're not filming this episode in Hawaii. So if you don't see that beach, that means they're going to film all the episode in LA. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it makes more sense to fish off the beach than in the lagoon.
It does. But like I said, they only filmed the pilot and a few scenes for first few episodes on the actual location of Hawaii. Everything else is filmed on the set in LA in a soundstage, and right outside next to the soundstage where they have the lagoon. Oh, by the way, this whole lagoon area, after Gilligan's Island went off the air, they preserved it. It was actually there for many years. It was part of the Universal Studios tour. So if you toured Universal Studios, the tram that people rode would actually go through the lagoon, the area. But unfortunately, by the time I was old enough to go to Universal Studios and I finally went, it was already not there anymore, which is sad. That was one of the things I was really looking forward to see. I wanted to see the Psycho House. They still had a few attractions from the $6 Million Man. But the lagoon is one of the things I wanted to see. Oh, and the lagoon area is what eventually turned into the Jaws area. So if you go to Universal Studios in LA tour, there's a scene where you're in a tram that goes slightly underwater, and the fake shark from Jaws comes in, like it's surrounding the tram. That is the area that used to be the Gilligan's Island Lagoon. And here they are, they're excited, which is wonderful.
Yeah, Hey, didn't they use that that lagoon pool for a lot of different shows? Because I think they used the the the, um, the same water tank, the store George and Gracie from Star Trek
That
4.
that was Paramount. That was a different lot, and that was a parking lot. It was a parking lot where they did the only time. Okay, when they showed George and Gracie in Star Trek 4, those were miniatures shot in a tank. They were robotic, um, radio controlled miniature. Even though they looked real, but they were actually miniaturized robots underwater.
Well, then how'd they
But
make Spock look so big next to him?
no, they were full sized. They were full sized animatronic whales.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right.
So that's, that's a hell of a trick for when they had Spock jump in the tank. He was right next to him, and they looked like they're full size.
But they were right. And see, what's interesting too is they don't, that had to be done that way because you're not allowed to actually get that close to a whale. But with okay, I'll make this fast. I'm sure you've heard the story of the movie Jaws. How while they were filming the movie Jaws, they kept having a lot of trouble with the mechanical shark. Have you heard about that?
No.
Well, they did. While Steven Spielberg was filming that movie, they built that mechanical shark that was supposed to pop out of the water and do other things. And during the filming, they kept having problems. The shark's name was Bruce. They called it Bruce. So every now, or most of the time, Bruce wasn't working. The shark would break down and would just sink. So the reason why, that's why Steven Spielberg had to film around the shark for many scenes. And when you watch the movie, you'll see that the shark really isn't in that many parts of the movie because most of the times it wasn't working. And it was so frustrating for Steven Spielberg, he even had a nervous breakdown after the movie was completed. And they thought it was going to be a financial disaster, but it's proven to be wrong. And the less of the shark they showed, the more successful it made that movie. But that was 1975. By the time they made Star Trek 4 with the two animatronic whales, they perfected it where they didn't have the issue of them breaking down all the time.
Okay. And Greg says ocean fishing is different than freshwater fishing,
Oh, absolutely, it is. Yes.
and he's giving us some cheers.
Cheers, older Greg.
Yeah, I want to go deep sea fishing there, but I even got all the stuff from when I made the shit. But I just gotta get to an ocean.
Yeah, you know what's sad is I'm right next to one, and I haven't been deep sea fishing, but I want to as well. But I'm right next to it. I'm right here in Alameda.
Yeah.
Oh, no, back to what I was saying. Star Trek 4. They did tear up a parking lot in the Paramount Studios and built a tank for the ending scene where the bird of prey lands in the water. So, if you remember the end of Star Trek 4, when the bird of prey is in the water and they have to blow the escape hatch, and all of them are jumping out of the hatch and they're swimming around the water and they're all cheering and everything at the very end. That was done in the parking lot at Paramount, and where they dug out a parking lot and made like a pool and filmed that one scene. So that's kind of similar to like the lagoon, but it was in a different studio.
Yeah.
And here's where they realize, lo and behold, look where the raft is. It came from the SS Minnow, and you can actually see right to the left of the SS. You can see the bait. You can see the little fish there with the line running to it. So that supposedly is what pulled the raft in, or what snagged the raft that enabled them to pull it in.
You would think that would just tore off and broke the hook loose. That rubber
Well,
would split.
that's what I was thinking, or rip a hole in the raft, right?
Yeah. So it must not have been snagged on absolutely nothing, or else it was snagged.
Yep, that's true. And it looks like there might be a few rips there. I'm not really sure what those are, but it looks like they have buttons or something on them.
I'm not quite sure. Oh, Gaps is giving us cheers too.
Cheers, Gap. I need a beer. That sounds good. And Mr. Howell has a built-in gold detector. And every time he gets close to anything above 24 karat, his arm goes off. He explains to Gilligan. I guess it's an allergy he has for gold.
Now I would have laughed if that gold was actually fool's gold.
Fool's gold.
That would make this episode like 100% better if at the end, before they took off there, that the professor examined it and it turned out to be fool's gold.
Well, I know one way that they used to be able to tell the difference between real gold and fool's gold was with mercury, and I'm sure there's got to be other ways. I doubt they had mercury on that island. But I don't know what they would have used in order to determine if it's real or not. If there's other ways,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you could just look at it closely and you can tell the difference.
I don't know. They had to use mercury a lot. If it was that easy, they wouldn't have had to use mercury. Okay, like I'll give you an example. I'm from California here, where the supposed big gold strike of 1849 happened. They used so much mercury, the miners, that even today the water is still poisoned up in a lot of the areas of the mountains because you can't the water and the land because they just spilled the mercury everywhere when they were doing it.
Hey, maybe that explains a lot about California.
Well, that'd be part of it, huh?
Oh, that wasn't right. I apologize.
Oh no, it's okay. And you know where that's where that you know that is where the term "mad as a hatter" came from, right?
I figured it was something like that.
Well, you've heard of the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, right?
I've heard of the beer.
Oh, I never heard of the beer, but
Oh, don't drink it. It is complete shit. Like I couldn't even. I. This is the one time I was nice enough trying to give away beer. It wasn't none of those. Anybody go. Do you have a beer? Yeah, there's some in the fridge. I was trying to actively give this shit away.
it was that bad, huh?
Yeah, and I don't give my beer away. Like if someone asks, "Hey, can I have a beer?" Yeah, yeah, I'll go. Yeah, go for it. But I won't go. Hey, do you want a beer? No, you got to ask for it. And I couldn't even
well,
give it away.
well, it used to back in the day, 17th and 18th century, 19th century. They had with hatters, and that were people that made hats. So you would go into a store just specifically to buy a hat. And back then, they used to actually line some of the hats with mercury. They didn't know then that mercury was highly poisonous. By lining these hats with mercury, it was causing the people to slowly go insane, poison them, and then eventually kill them. So that's where the term "mad as a hatter" came from, because they mad like in crazy. So if you ever hear that term, it's an old-fashioned term, but that's where it came from.
Okay.
And here's where Gilligan is starting to get the look like he's going to be rich too. And of course, Mr. Howell doesn't like that look because Mr. Howell wants all the money. There it is. Mr. Howell shuts him up and says, "That'll be that." And he says, "I'm going to hire you instead." So that's where immediately, see, you would think they would say, "We're equal partners. We both found it, 50% for me, 50% for you." But Mr. Howell immediately distracts Gilligan and instead makes him an employee. So when he says, "I'm going to hire you to mine the gold," that's where he catches Gilligan off guard. Gilligan doesn't realize what's going on, and he's definitely being taken advantage of. And now they're back to suspiciously playing golf. And of course, Mr. Howell tells him to keep the secret to himself and not tell anybody. And along comes Skipper, and as you can see, Mr. Howell is definitely keeping Gilligan's mouth shut.
Yeah. You know, this is so obvious that Mr. Howell's trying to shut Gilligan up. You think Gilligan will, or Skipper will pull him off the side and go, "Okay, what's Mr. Howell to make you shut up about?"
Right, what's going on? What's going on, right? And Skipper's got his mind, but Skipper's distracted. He's too excited about the raft. So he says, "Never mind, Gilligan. Guess what I found?" And as you can see, this Skipper pretty much figures that we've caught our own life raft from the Minnow. He says, which is even better news than the gold. And every time Gilligan opens his mouth, Mr. Howell hits him with the golf club on the foot. Skipper's already looking forward to getting on board, fixing that raft, and getting off the island. And here's where Mr. Howell comes in to share the wonderful information with Mrs. Howell.
Oh, this made me so funny. Go, that's dreadful. That's wonderful. That's dreadful. Starting to sound like my damn ex.
Or it sounds like somebody who's not really paying much attention. And Mr. Howell is disappointed because Gilligan has to work on the boat all day. Mr. Howell wants to be mining gold. So I think this is the part you alluded to earlier, where he gets Mrs. Howell to do some work. And here we are back at the lagoon, and here they are working on the raft, trying to get it up and ready, and it looks like they've already got it inflated. And there's Skipper talking to Gilligan, who is under the raft. And Mr. Howell comes along, and he's talking to Gilligan.
Now, here's something I had to grief with. Yeah, do you think that the professor would fully understand and hear what Mr. Howell is saying?
Well, not only that, though, but something else that we're going to reveal. Or you've given it. I know we haven't gotten to that scene yet, but we are going to find out that extra set of legs, that's the joke in the scene, is Mr. Howell is wondering how Gilligan could be laying like that. When we find out the joke is that that's actually the legs of the professor. And yes, the professor could probably hear it. And there's where Gilligan even ties the shoe. And out goes Mr. Howell. And out comes the professor from under the boat, confused and not knowing what's going on. And if you'll notice that the professor is wearing different pants than he usually does. Normally he wears tan khakis, but for some reason in this one scene he's wearing Levi's. And I think that was for the joke, so that his pants would look like Gilligan's.
All right, Gap said, I love how their clothes stayed very clean and pristine, and their teeth, etc., and hair. I was like, well, they don't have sugar on that to rot their teeth, so.
Just natural, like pineapple, bananas, stuff like that. And with having the professor, he may have been able to make toothpaste out of something, right?
Yeah.
Because one of his fields of the professor is chemistry. Meanwhile, later on at the hut, and it looks like Skipper and Gilligan are going to sleep. And as soon as Skipper is asleep, what's interesting here is Mr. Howell doesn't come in the door. He comes from behind a curtain. So you think, I guess he was hanging out in the hut the whole time. And here's where he... Yeah, I don't know why they didn't have him come in the door. Maybe they thought it might make too much noise.
Wait. Did they have like fishnet hammocks?
They seem to change over the episodes, don't they? Because now they look more like woven mats or rugs.
Yeah, like that. Like that's what their beds were in on the boat. But yeah, I swear the first couple episodes they're fishnet like hammocks.
And they're going to be again. Because I know there's definitely future episodes where they're going to show that, and it's back to them being nets. So Mr. Howell comes in and gets Gilligan and takes him back down to the gold mine here, where they're now mining the gold. And Mr. Howell's weighing it, and he's using Mrs. Howell's engagement ring, which is an incredible 1 pound diamond. Can you imagine the value of that?
Holy crap.
And here we have the next day.
What year is it? 1960 what?
65. Let's just put it that way. Are you calculating what it would be worth?
Let Google do it.
All right. 1 pound engagement ring. Jeez. Really got to lure it in. He must have been marrying money, and that must be why he did it. Mrs. Howell's family may have been richer than his. Oh, and I wanted to mention the way Mrs. Howell talks. She has what they call a rich accent. I'm sure you notice that she does talk different than the other people. You know, like a rich socialite. That was her real accent. That's how she really spoke. She did not do that for the show. I've seen interviews where they asked her about that, and she says, "No, that's how she always spoke." And here they're discussing what they're going to be doing with the raft. So they're working on it, and they're going to have it ready as soon as possible. And you can see the skipper is very excited.
All right. Hey, is a carrot the same as a pound?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't know anything about jewelry, but I think it's different. Where's my phone? Bear with me here. I'm looking this up.
I'm more interested in the price of the diamond now.
Yeah, you're right. It shows carats. 1 gram diamond costs 3,560, and a gram is nowhere near a pound. How many grams in a pound? Bear with us, everybody. How many grams?
I got it. There's 450 grams in a pound. So 453 times. So four. So I'm gonna get out my handy dandy calculator here.
All right, I trust you. And here's where Gilligan is falling asleep at dinner. Lo and behold, what the other castaways do not know is Gilligan has not been getting much sleep because he's been gold digging at night and working during the day for the skipper to get that raft ready.
Right.
And good news is their blight is over, so they have plenty of food again. So we're not having to worry about them being hungry like they were during the last week's episode.
Yeah. Okay. So I did the calculation. This is in today's money, not 1965.
Uh
That'd be approximately $3.8 million ring.
huh. Wow, I'm not surprised. And that's just the engagement ring. That's not the wedding ring. It's like wow, and one of many rings because obviously she has many on the show.
Well, would you want to wear that thing all around?
No, maybe yeah, and not only that, right the size of that unit. I had to cough there for a second. No, and especially with that size, it'd be too heavy. Maybe wear it around your neck.
Oh, so you have neck problems the rest of your life, huh?
I know, right? And besides, and I've learned, I'm sure you guys have heard in California, you don't want to go walking around with anything like that because you're going to be robbed. They'll follow you back to your house and take everything you got. And here's where they're noticing that Gilligan is tired. And so they're saying, well, we'll put him to bed here soon. And the house have other plans for him, of course. And Skipper notices that they're not much of a hurry to get the raft fixed for some reason. And here they are back to work. He's waking Gilligan up. And Mr. Howell's already planning on what he's going to do. And there's Ginger sneaking in the back. And there they are. They know something's going on. And here's where the skipper finds the hole as well. And unfortunately, the skipper falls in the hole and lands on his back. And lands on Mrs. Howell's engagement ring. Which, by the way, you can see from looking at that ring, it was made from a doorknob. They had glass doorknobs, and that's obviously what that was.
What? That almost looks like my water faucet knob.
It could be, right? You can tell by how it's flat on top. But it does look like a diamond, I guess, how a diamond ring would be shaped, just on a much larger scale. So here we are. Here we are. We have the raft repaired, and everyone's making preparations to leave the island. But now they realize they all know about the gold, so they all want a piece of the action. Is pretty much what they're saying. And here how they're talking about trying to get parts. They want part of that gold strike. Mr. Howell is pretty much claiming the gold for himself, but of course they're all trying to lure him, talk him into, and convince him into giving some. And of course, Ginger's trying to make him feel guilty, and Mr. Howell doesn't feel guilty. And here's where they decide they're going to start mining for gold for themselves. And that's funny, Ginger. That what Ginger's holding, I guess it's supposed to be like a shovel. It doesn't look like it'd be very effective, but oh well. And here we are with a few scenes of them working. And here they are at night. They're all dirty, grumpy, and tired. And Mr. and Mrs. Howell seem to be the only happy ones. Well, Gilligan seems to be in light spirits. So 50 bags of gold, not bad at all. So that's what they've accumulated so far. And now they decide to start renting things out to each other. So Mr. Howell makes a proposition to the skipper that he'll rent some of his tools. And here we are, Mr. Howell down there working on his little gold operation. And as you can see to the bottom right, on the bottom right of the screen, there's a ladder. So what I wanted to explain is, okay, there's that ladder at the bottom of this scene there, which is how they're getting in and out of the hole. So if they need a ladder to get in and out of the hole, the question is at the beginning of this episode when Mr. Howell and Gilligan fell in there, how did they get out without a ladder?
Very carefully.
Very carefully. Maybe Mr. Howell hoisted Gilligan up on his shoulders. And then maybe Gilligan threw a rope down to Mr. Howell and pulled him up. And here they are with a rent-a-pick, and they're bringing some tools that Mr. Howell is going to be paying very dearly for.
I laugh how he tries to write him a check.
Right, he tries to write him a check because he says he doesn't have cash, even though we know in the future episode we will see Mr. Howell with briefcases of cash.
Yeah.
In fact, here's what they talk. They say no checks. So they decide instead of checks, how about they take some gold in exchange? Mr. Howell doesn't like the idea, but he goes with it. Now, this is what we were talking about last week, Gorilla. This is a subject we brought up, where you were talking about how they probably weren't eating that very good food. And when Ginger starts and Marianne start naming off what they had for dinner, it's some pretty fancy food, lobster and other things. I hope the lobster wasn't too rich for you. So that's a pretty nice meal.
Oh, I wish I could have lobster, but you can't find it around here anymore.
Oh, well, here you can get it, but it's extremely expensive. But I'm not a lobster eater. I tried it once when I was about a teenager, and it tasted very bitter. So I haven't eaten it since. But now that I'm older, I know that it's a bottom feeder. I know that lobsters and crabs are bottom feeders, so I'm glad I don't eat them. But no offense to people out there that like them. I know people like them. I know LDG likes crab. No offense if you guys like them, but it's not my thing. Plus, they look like spiders. And that's a seafood salad. See, that's not bad. A seafood salad, $175. That's expensive even by today's standards.
Well, you know that they're ripping them off because they.
Of course they are. They're gouging them because they know they have the money. But they're also doing it because they know that they're tightwads. So it's like, okay, the Howells are getting what they deserve, right? Grapefruit muffins, that sounds delicious. I need to check Marianne's cookbook and see if she has a recipe for that. And the Howells are not, a fine kettle of fish. And then that's right, Mary. And then Ginger says, "Well, that's right. One kettle of fish, $300." And here's where they go to the professor, but of course he wants money as well, or gold. $1,200 to be precise. And of course, the professor's not going to take it easily, and he's got some pretty steep prices. And now we have they're all ready on the island. They're all dressed to go, or they're on at the lagoon. The raft is prepared. They're all excited. And each of them explains that they have a bag of gold here. And Marianne says, "Mine's light as a feather," and then she realizes she can barely lift it. And the only one that doesn't have any gold is Gilligan. Gilligan was so busy helping everyone else that he never took the time out to actually dig for it himself, I guess. Now they have their provisions aboard the raft, and they're getting ready to shove off. Here we go. And I wanted to point this out. You recognize that cage that Mrs. Howell is holding?
Yeah, that's the duck cage.
Right, that's the duck cage. So, and by the way, just to point out too, we'll be seeing that cage later on in the future episodes. So this isn't the last time that we'll see that. They're so excited. And Ginger here has got that box, but look how she's having to struggle to carry it, so you can kind of tell what's in it. Even the professor got his. And here we are. Everybody's getting in the raft and heading off and waving goodbye. And there's a scene I'm going to point out here too in a second that's a little interesting, very little known fact. So here we are. They're pedaling, rowing, however you want to put it, the boat out to the water. And there we are. There's the castaways in the middle of the lagoon in the raft.
Yeah. So Gap's laughing about no checks, and then you made LDG hungry because you said crab.
Now, can you see? I have a question for you, Gorilla. Can you see the castaways in the raft?
Yeah.
That's all the castaways in the raft, right?
No.
Why?
Lovely's not in there.
There she is. Remember, she had that cage. You can't see her in this particular shot, but she is in the raft with them. My question is, you ready for this? Who is that man staying on the beach over on the left? Yeah, zoom in, people. Put it on full screen. I doubled it. I doubled the video so you can kind of see. Can you see the man standing there watching them?
Yeah, I see it. Put your mouse
Right.
right next to it. Put the mouse right next to it.
Right here, ladies and gentlemen, is someone standing on the lagoon watching the castaways leave. I'm surprised he's not waving goodbye. That was something I accidentally noticed when I was watching this episode. Sorry about that.
That's a good catch. I didn't even catch
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's one of those things. If you're not looking close enough, you won't spot it.
It's kind of about as bad as when they're doing the Titanic. You can see Ireland in the background.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't help. And here's where they realize they seem to have too much weight aboard. And as you can see, there is Mrs. Howell. She's right behind the skipper, so she is on the raft. So they realize that they have too much weight, and the raft is unfortunately sinking. Doing the best they can. In fact, Mrs. Howell's the first one in the water. Now remember, also, as a reminder, Natalie Schaefer, Mrs. Howell, did her own stunts. And there they are falling into the water, and that man is still standing there. You know, shame that he doesn't try to jump in and help them, right?
Yeah, he's about as bad as the Organians. Which I'm going to do a future video on discussing that the Organians are a bunch of assholes. Change my mind.
Uh-oh, there goes Levy's gold and that bird cage and the golf clubs. And here they are swimming back to shore. There's a blooper that's going to come up here. I don't know if I should cover that or not. Marianne, look at Marianne. There was actually, if you watch the scene, and for all you guys out there, if you watch the scene, as they're crawling out of the water, Marianne accidentally shows cleavage, realizes it, and then clasps her hand up against her dress to close it.
Now you're making me have to go rewatch the episode again.
I was afraid of that. But it's true. As she's getting out of the water, the front of her dress sags because it's wet. So she realizes, and that's why she's got her hand up against her chest there to hold her dress closed. Mrs. Howell looks hilarious. I love that look on her face. And here's where they realize, well, I guess one bag was just too much. And then as each castaway starts to realize 2 bags and 3 bags and so on, and they realize that all of them had a bag except for Gilligan. And that was the reason why the raft went down. And they realized because it was because of greed. And Gilligan says that he found a pearl in a clam, which of course he tells us that he's only found 2 or 3 or 4 pearls, and there's none left. He just tricked them while they're out there now looking for pearls. But this is the scene also where Gilligan says that after the Minnow sank, he said, well, for the first time, it wasn't my fault. Which is true. So for the first time, it was not Gilligan's fault that the raft went down. It was actually everybody else. Okay, let me get ready for the next one. Do you have anything to say about that episode before we go to the next one?
Hold on. But I do got a few things to say about the next episode when we get to it.
I hate how it starts playing automatically. Ugh, I need to fix that. Ugh. All right. Okay, here we go. We're starting with the next episode. And this one here is Waiting for Watubi. Hey, we're making good timing. We've only spent an hour on the first episode, so maybe this won't be a 3-hour stream tonight. So maybe we can cut this down to 2 hours, huh? You never know.
Oh, then if it gets done that early, I'll have to do a come chat as I die in Minecraft.
Well, maybe I'll hang out with you. Oh. And here we are, Sherwood Schwartz, producer, Jack Arnold once again directing.
Ugh.
By the way, I think Jack Arnold, if I remember, I think Jack Arnold directed the movie The Incredible Shrinking Man. I think he did some pretty big movies back in the days as well. So here we are. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I got to really start reading the wrappers of this candy that was given to me. I was given a bunch of candy. I didn't even look at the wrapper. That's freaking coffee flavored.
Isn't that what I was just telling you last time that I hated?
Yeah, I hate coffee.
So do I. I hate coffee. And I would get this. Oh, so. And what's funny is whoever gave you that candy hated it too. That's why they gave it to you.
No, it's my best friend. She knows I don't like coffee because I got into a huge 5-minute argument with the lady at the Burger King drive-thru where she claims that I ordered coffee when I didn't.
Yeah, if we don't drink coffee, I think we know if we order it or not. You know, it's funny too because when I was a teacher, whenever Christmas would come around, they'd have these, what do they call it, where it was like, we'd go to this Christmas party for the whole staff, and everybody had to bring a present. And they told everybody, they said, make the present around $10, wrap it, it's got to be totally anonymous, don't put your name on it, but bring a present, it's got to be non-gender. So whatever you bring, it can't be for a man or for a woman, it's got to be for anybody. You make it around $10, and it's got to be anonymous. So I was like, okay, whatever. Come to find out that people were always giving out Starbucks cards. And I do not even drink coffee. And twice when I got that card, I said, what is this, you guys? What is this? Why do you guys give out this? Well, can't you give that to a friend? And I said, what is the point then? What is the point? So needless to say, I stopped going to those.
Yeah. Okay, we got 4 chats here. We'll start
before the
episode. Gap says unknown man on the beach. Eagle eye pop. Your eagle eye pop. Fun stream, y'all. And have
Thanks,
a
Gap.
good rest of the stream. I'll definitely watch the replay. Have things. And you see you too, Gap. And you have a fantastic
Yeah.
evening. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your knickknacks on your shorts.
Oh, I need to check those out. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, he does shorts and shows all this cool stuff he collects over the years. It's actually pretty cool. So, if you guys haven't seen Gap After Dark, make sure to check him out.
I will sub to your channel, Gap, if you're still listening. And have a great night. Happy Turkey Day if I don't talk to you soon. Okay, so here we are. Yes?
No, I was just going to say, Goiler Greg says good night, Gap.
Good night, Gap. And here we are. The castaways on the island apparently going through a heat wave. So they're having to dig a deep hole to keep their food rations from spoiling. Oh, I forgot our subtitles. Bear with me here a second. And we're on episode 10. There we go. Subtitles added. All right, here we go. And Skipper's explaining that they brought a steamer trunk from the house, which is where they're going to put their food. And they're going to put their food in that hole and bury it because Professor explains that it's cooler down there.
Wait. I got a question. Why are they digging the hole that close to the water if they want to protect their food? You think they'd want to dig it away from the beach so they can get deeper down and not risk the water damage and then not the soil erosion?
What if the water is what's well, that far from the beach, it's not going to, no water, I don't think the water's going to seep in, but what if the water is keeping that area cooler than over by where their huts are? Because it might be the temperature of the water that's keeping it cooler. I don't know.
Yeah, but being that close to the beach, the water level will be higher than deeper into the island.
That's possible.
Because it's lower elevation.
True. So here we are with Gilligan doing the digging. And Skipper volunteers to help because Gilligan is a little tired. Notice the pants that Gilligan's wearing. You see them?
Yeah.
That's the Levi's I told you that the professor was wearing in the last episode when he was under the raft. So they could have that joke where it looked like it was Gilligan's legs. See? That's the exact same pants, or same design, basically. But basically, they're blue Levi's. And now Gilligan has a backache and he's unable to stand up straight. So the skipper helps him. And as the skipper pulls Gilligan up straight, you can hear a bunch of cracking. And the skipper's worried and says, "Gosh, little buddy, I hope I didn't hurt you." But of course, Gilligan says, no, he had some clams in his back pocket that all got broken. And now the skipper tells Professor to get Gilligan to help you with those bamboo. And the skipper uncovers something in the sand and says, "Look what I just dug up."
Yeah, Kona.
It's Kona. And Skipper, being very suspicious, or superstitious, I should say, does not like that. And he believes that by having this in his hands and in his possession, it's going to bring him bad luck from the island gods. And of course, the professor tries to tell him that makes no sense. But Skipper is not going to have any of that and is now worried. He thinks he's cursed. And there's no convincing him otherwise. And as the skipper is panicking, they experience a small earthquake. Right? Gorilla, do you remember that?
Yeah, and this is something I wanted to talk about here.
I thought so.
This is the first time we hear about earthquakes on the island there. But what I was thinking is, just think of how much they dug into the island there versus when they're gathering stuff there. They dug out all that gold. They dug a well. Now they're digging a food storage, What if they hit something that's releasing the gases underneath that's destabilizing underneath the island, and that's what's causing the earthquakes, is the gas releasing.
Well, it's possible. You think the professor would know better, and maybe they're not digging down deep enough. But maybe that leads us to believe that it's a volcanic island.
Yeah, that too. And, they're how much water have they taken out of that island? Because they said that we're experiencing more micro earthquakes nowadays because of all the drilling we're doing and all the fracking and mining we're doing.
That's not
And
true.
no, it's just
Um,
micro stuff like you don't feel it. Very
no,
small.
no,
Small.
no, no. What I'm saying is that's part of the climate change hoax.
Oh,
Yeah, it's proven not true. That was one of the tactics that the Democrats did so they could raise oil prices, which they've done. But no, it's been. I don't want to get the channel stricken, but yeah, that's been proven not true. Okay,
okay.
so here's the professor trying to. Oh, here's what I was going to say is you think if the island had a earthquake, you think the water would be sloshing all over in the lagoon, right?
Hey, you think?
Yeah, because I've seen swimming pools during an earthquake and they're splashing water all over the place. But of course, at least when they shot this scene from the angle you could see, they knew not to show the lagoon. So the lagoon is off to our left. And while they're experiencing this earthquake, we can see the three men being jostled around, but they're careful not to show the lagoon. Here's the professor trying to explain to them, and as my sometimes this media player freezes up, and I don't know why.
Now watch. They have a real earthquake while they're filming this thing.
As you can see now, immediately after the earthquake, there's the lagoon, and the water looks very calm. The skipper accidentally steps on a rake, which hits him in the head, and of course, he immediately thinks that's part of the curse from not
Kona.
Kahuna. What is it? Kona. I keep
Kona.
thinking Kahuna.
Hakuna Matata means no worries for the rest of your life. Hakuna Matata.
And here we are, them being very panicked. And Skipper is worried, and he figures that the only way to stop this curse is they need to bury that thing. And the Howells, of course, once again are on a daily walk, and they happen to notice there's something strange going on, as usual. And Skipper's going to dig down deeper and deeper. What they want to do is they want to place that device back in the ground, and then put the food on top of it and cover it. But the statues, the Howells see it, and they figure that it must be worth a fortune, and they think that that's why the people are why the skipper and Gilligan are burying it. They think they're trying to hide it from them, and they surmise and come to the conclusion that they're going to come back later and dig it up after Skipper and Gilligan are done.
You think they know that's supposed to be their food thing? That's why they're digging the hole.
Oh wait, who do you mean? The Howells?
Yeah.
Oh no, the Howells know why they're digging the hole because remember, Gilligan said that they borrowed the steamer trunk from the Howells just for that reason. What the Howells are wondering is why they're burying that device they had not seen, that Tiki god. So the Howells just think, yes, they're burying the hole, but look, they have that Tiki god, which is worth a lot of money, and they're trying to hide it from everybody because it's so valuable. So the Howells decide that after Gilligan and Skipper are gone, they're going to come back and dig that thing up. And I love this. The first thing Mr. Howell says, good heavens, Levy, how do you work one of these? And referring to the shovel. He's never had a shovel in his hand before.
Even though they had to go dig out some gold last episode.
Right. In the last episode, they were digging gold, right? So it's possible maybe these episodes were aired out of sequence. Maybe this episode was actually filmed before the other one. I need to seriously find the list of when in the order these were produced and not necessarily the order they were aired. Like I said, like the way Jill does her TOS reviews. And here they are scheming against them. And here they are where the skipper and Gilligan go to retrieve that steamer trunk from the Howells. And when they go to pick up the trunk, they notice it's very heavy. And Gilligan also notices that it's locked. So Skipper tells him, well, let's look around. There's got to be a key around here somewhere. So Skipper looks in the fishing basket. And Skipper looks in that wicker cap or that bamboo cabinet. I didn't really get a clip of it, but when he opens it up, he sees, there it is. He sees that Tiki god, the Howells put it inside the hut, inside that shell. The Howells did not know that Skipper was going to come looking. But unfortunately, that makes Skipper panic. And now he thinks that the Tiki god is actually following him. But he's even more scared than usual. the curse of Kona. And now he's begging Gilligan to please go and bury it. And even though Gilligan doesn't really believe it, he's still not really sure, but he's still paranoid, and he doesn't like the eyes of the Tiki. The eyes spook him. And here's Gilligan carrying the Tiki, and he's supposed to be on a mission to bury it. But instead, he says, I don't believe in your curse. He says, stop staring at me. And he's saying to himself, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. And as he says that, the tree behind him gets struck by lightning and splits in half. And when that happens, that makes Gilligan pretty much panic and throw the idol. So Gilligan comes back to the hut, and Skipper is happy, saying, well, what kind of wood? Skipper's happy thinking that Gilligan buried it. And Gilligan doesn't quite know how to tell him that he didn't really bury it. But then now he tells the skipper that he threw it. And the skipper says, we need to go get it and bury it. So there they are. They go to look for it. And they actually bump into each other. And that's why Skipper fell. So he explains that they bumped because their shoe was untied. And Skipper walks off stage or off set where we can't see him. And then you can hear him yelling for help. And Gilligan goes to help Skipper, and here's where we run into we were talking about this a few weeks ago. We're learning up how this was a trope back in the 60s. Quicksand. So This is where they've discovered that they have quicksand patch on the island, and the skipper is in it, and he's slowly sinking. By the way, the only way, if in real life, if you ever fall into quicksand, don't struggle. That's what makes you go down faster. The best thing to do is try to lay flat and let your body float to the surface, because your body weight is actually lighter than the tension of the quicksand. So when they make these quicksand scenes in the TV shows and in the movies, they really do make them look worse than they are. And a lot of times they're not very deep.
Are they? Yeah.
Right. Most times they're not really that deep. So Skipper's panicking, and Gilligan's running around looking for vines or something to give Skipper. And as he walks past, he even hits Skipper on the head with one of them. And here he is trying to hack at some of the bushes and weeds. And as he's doing that, Skipper is able to grab a bunch of the weed and is pulling himself out. And Gilligan does not notice this because he's busy hacking and slashing at the vines. By the time Gilligan gets back with the vines, all he sees is Skipper's hat. And he's afraid that Skipper has sunk to the bottom. But then Skipper walks in and says, no, that I'm okay. And Gilligan's happy that the skipper survived. And they did look all over for Kona and were unable to find him. And Professor and Gilligan are discussing the fact that Skipper's really down in the dumps and depressed because he thinks he has a curse on him. So they've decided maybe we should throw him a birthday party. And the professor says, that's a wonderful idea. When's his birthday? And Gilligan says, last month.
Mm-hmm.
And Marianne, strolling through the jungle, happens to find Kona. And her and Ginger are enthralled with it and decide, let's give it to the skipper for his birthday. So here we are with the skipper's birthday party. And we have all the castaways around the table, excited and belated. I gotta mute my phone.
You think they would ask about something like that before they give it to the skipper because they know how superstitious he is?
I don't think they realize that. And the skipper has mentioned in prior episodes how superstitious he is, too.
Yeah,
they brought that up earlier.
You think they'd ask the professor about it?
Well, right, but the professor keeps telling them it's not true, of course, because he's logical. But remember, Skipper showed that he was very superstitious when they found that monkey on the island. He thought that monkey at first was some evil god or something, remember, or a monster. So here we are, the castaways are each handing Skipper their gifts. And the professor, he gives, what did he give the skipper? A book. What else does he have to give them? They're on the island, right? Okay. Sorry, I had to cough for a moment. And here's where he's opening up the gifts, and he opens one from Gilligan, and he says, "Gilligan, this is his pocket knife you've had for many years. I can't believe you gave it to me. Why'd you give it to me?" And Gilligan says, "Because it's broken." Here the Howell's looking modest, and they give the skipper a ring. No, excuse me, it was a gold earring. That's right, they give him a gold earring, and Mrs. Howell explains that she thinks men look very distinguished with a gold earring. And now the Marianne and Ginger present the skipper with their gift. And as you can see, he says, "Thanks, girls. Thanks, Gilligan." And he has a gift, and he's getting ready to present it. And he opens it, and lo and behold, he sees that it's Kona again, which immediately makes him panic and run from the table. And here is Ginger looking for the skipper, and the skipper is depressed and down in the dumps once again. And Ginger's trying to raise his spirits. But everything she tries, it doesn't seem to work. She can't convince him. And we're back to Gilligan here. He has Kona. Gilligan is still covering the eyes because the eyes kind of spook him out. And here's where they're talking about the possibility of getting this pit done and digging it. And Gilligan is asking the professor if they can make the hole deeper and deeper just to make sure. And there's Ginger's still trying to butter him up. So they put Tiki in the hole. Skipper comes along, accidentally falls in the hole, landing right next to Kona, which does not help his mood any at all. Skipper hops out of the hole and goes running again. And Skipper, right here we have Skipper runs into a tree, unfortunately. Off screen, you can hear him hit a tree. And they have his head bandaged, and he's having a massive headache, apparently, and having trouble sleeping. So they're all trying to comfort him, and they convince him. He's convinced that he's going to die, and the world's coming to an end. And they're trying to convince him to cheer up, and then it's not true, but he won't be hearing any of that. He's already convinced himself, and that's what the professor's saying. That by him convincing himself that he's ill, all it's going to do is make him worse. And the Howells also stopped by to help cheer him up, which is nice of them.
And apparently Gilligan looks Hawaiian.
Why is that?
I don't know. Euler Greg says that.
And Mr. Howell says, "You think the bruise on Skipper's head is bad? You should see that tree. You ought to notify Smokey the Bear." And they're trying to comfort the skipper. And the skipper is convinced. Here they are. He falls asleep, and Gilligan passes out next to him, unfortunately. And Skipper tells Gilligan to bring out his chest. And Gilligan does, but unfortunately he puts it on his fingers first. And Skipper wants to give away all his valuables to Gilligan. And he tells Gilligan to take his hat and put it on, and Gilligan says he doesn't want it. The skipper forces him to put it on, and he says, "You're right. Take it back off again." Skipper's not ready for that yet. So Gilligan is pulling things out of the box, and he said, "Look at this spider here. This is nice." And Skipper says, "I don't know how that got in there." And Gilligan immediately throws the spider, not realizing what it is. And this is the first scene we've seen in the series where Alan Hale talks about his pinky ring that I have mentioned in other streams. That's the pinky ring that was bestowed upon him by his late father, Alan Hale Sr., the actor. So he tells Gilligan that it was, and what's interesting too is he mentions to Gilligan that ring was in his family for generations and generations, which may have been very true. And he tells Gilligan that he wants him to have the ring. And he's trying to take it off, but he can't. And there's Gilligan trying to help him take it off, and he's pulling on it, which is not doing the skipper any good, of course. And I didn't catch the name, but Skipper is calling for the Kaluna or something like that. The name of
What? It's
Watubi.
right in the. It's Watubi.
Watubi. That's it.
Watubi! Watubi!
Right.
Watubi!
Skipper is convinced that the Great Watubi, who is a medicine doctor, is the only one that can come and lift the curse of Kona. But Gilligan and Professor are saying, "Well, what are we going to do? They're out of ideas." And that's when Professor decides that maybe we'll get a visit from Watubi. And Gilligan says, "Well, who will that be?" And Professor pats him on the chest.
Why is it always Gilligan? Like, the professor could have done just as good a job and no risk of Gilligan fucking it up.
Well, yeah, you're right about that, right? Which he did eventually do. And they set off a smoke bomb right outside the hut there to make it look like magic. And what's funny is the skipper thinks that it's fire, and that's why he's yelling "fire, fire." So into the hut walks Watubi, aka Gilligan. And
Where'd they get those bones from?
yeah, I thought about that. They had to find those bones on the island. I don't know if they're like elephant bones or what. How did elephants get on the island, right? And it's a good thing that Skipper didn't recognize Marianne and Ginger, huh?
Wait, is there a boar on the island?
Oh, that's possible. Yeah, I guess those would be big enough for a boar. Probably even bigger than a boar, though, wouldn't it?
Not about there'd be one awfully massive, big feral hog, but ooh,
And very dangerous.
We got a new person here. Welcome, Calvin the CV. Gilligan's Island reveal stream could very well be the last thing I can imagine tuning into on Twitch, but alas, here I am.
Welcome. So thank you for being here. I hope you like it. I am pop culture curator. Gorilla's Random Thoughts and myself do this every Wednesdays. We cover Gilligan's Island. Every Monday, I cover Star Trek, the animated series. So thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe if you do. We'll have future streams.
Yeah.
As you can see, Gorilla, I'm also streaming on Twitch and
yeah,
Twitter.
That.
Yep. So here's where Gilligan explains. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so obvious that that's Marianne and Ginger.
I know, that's what I was saying. So I guess we're supposed to believe that maybe Skipper's a little dazed and he's really kind of out of it because of the bump on the head. Maybe he doesn't recognize them, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the first thing that Gilligan says, he forgot his lines. He forgot what he's supposed to say.
But you
Yes.
think Ginger would remember them because that's her damn job before they get stuck on the damn island.
Well, he even asked her. He goes, "Don't you remember?" She said, "I only had an hour to learn my lines." So they did think of that. So Gilligan decides to just ad lib. So he starts a little performance there, and every couple seconds, he hits Skipper on the stomach with that pole that he has, whatever that is. He's got that pole in his hand, and you can see right there he's holding it. It's got a gourd on the end, and for some reason he keeps hitting Skipper in the stomach with it. And
I don't care. I don't care if you're a witch doctor. You do that to me, I'm getting up and whooping your ass. And Kyle said, I used to watch reruns when I was getting ready for middle school in the mid 90s.
Yeah, I grew up watching this as a kid, and I love this show. And I'm so glad that so many generations are still watching it to this day. And here they are. They throw powder in Skipper's face, and it looks like Skipper's about ready to run out of patience. And here they are saying, "Get out of bed, get out of bed," and they're still acting as if they're Watubi and Watubi's assistants, I'm guessing. And then finally, Skipper gets out of bed, as you can see here. And he says he feels much better. He's dancing and singing. And he runs out of the hut in excitement. And there's the Howells and the professor waiting. And Skipper runs, and unfortunately, right into a tree.
All right. Kyle says, for some reason, I always remember the To Be or Not To Be musical episode.
Oh, yes, we will be covering that episode. It'll be coming up pretty soon, in fact. And there we are, unfortunately, Skipper after hitting the tree. And here we are, Skipper still not quite back to himself again. He's still healing from the 2 bumps on his head. And Gilligan has let all the power go to his head and actually thinks that he does have power. So he's acting like he's raising a spell and saying, I am the Great Gilligan. Because they're saying that it's very hot and they wish it was cooler. So Gilligan is trying to tell them, well, I'm the Great Gilligan. I can make it cooler. And they're laughing at Gilligan because they know that's not true. And as soon as Gilligan does it, we get a big heavy wind come in, which makes all the castaways get up and run into the hut. And Gilligan, it's too late. Gilligan grabs onto this tree.
Okay, if the wind is strong enough to make Gilligan go sideways like that, that hut would be gone. That
Right.
would be gone. Those
Well,
trees
right.
would be gone.
And you think Gilligan wouldn't be strong enough to hold on to that tree that much, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, all those trees would be gone.
This is one. I wanted to point out this is one of the very, very few episodes where Gilligan breaks the fourth wall. Now, by that I mean where he looks at the camera and addresses the audience. Right there. So that's not something Gilligan usually does. Now, the skipper looks at the time. When he gets frustrated, he got that from Laurel and Hardy because Sherwood Schwartz, when he created this, he based Gilligan and the skipper on Laurel and Hardy. So that's the reason why you see one of the things that the skipper always doing is looking at the camera, because that's what Oliver Hardy used to do all the time. But this is the first time we see Gilligan actually address the camera. And we get our ending credits.
Holy crap, we cut that in half this week.
Yes, we did. What do you know? I hope I wasn't talking too fast.
No, you're good.
Well, one thing is I forgot to read from the book, which I usually do, and I forgot, but I promise everybody next week I will read from the Inside Gilligan's Island book written by Sherwood Schwartz. I was going to cover how he came up with the idea of the characters.
Yeah. And Kyle, I keep addressing this every episode. I'm a Marianne guy through and through.
Same here. Marianne was such a sweetheart. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know or not, but she never had a baby. She was married a couple times, but never had children. Sad to say.
The actor, or are we going into
real life? The actress. Real life.
Okay.
Dawn Wells in real life never had a child. So I'm sure all the men out there are saying, well, that's because she wasn't with me. But Ola Greg, thank you. Good show, guys. I appreciate that. And Kyle V and the CV, I'm with you guys. Thank you, Kyle. I'm also, by the way, I simulcast on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And I know I don't have all my videos on Twitch just yet or Twitter, but you'll find the majority of them on YouTube. If you look for my channel on YouTube, Pop Culture Curator, you'll see all my videos that I've made in the past. I don't have a lot just yet, but I'm slowly building my what I do have. And also, I wanted to recommend Kyle that we have Gorilla's Random Thoughts here. He's another content creator who has some great videos on YouTube as well. If you'd like to check out his channel, I highly recommend it.
Since we got done so early, I'm gonna go die in Minecraft searching for the ancient city.
Okay, well, I'm glad because and I wanted to try to shorten this too because, like I said, it's the night before the holiday. I know a lot of people have plans, and on the rerun, I don't know if people like to watch all 3 hours of my reviews, so I will try to trim them down more in the future. But let me go back here. I did post a poll in YouTube on Gilligan's Island. I posted a poll, and I'm going to show the results of that poll. Let me end the poll.
Oh, there is a poll?
Yes, there is. And then I'm going to show it here. Let me pop it out in the chat. And I'll share the results of our poll. And here we go. It said, which episode did you enjoy the most? Both equally, 60%. Waiting for Watubi, 40%. The Big Gold Strike, 0. Neither one, 0. So it looks like the
Waiting
majority of
for
everybody.
Watubi was way better.
Waiting for Watubi was better.
Yeah.
Well, it did get more votes than the Big Gold Strike, because you can see it says Waiting for Watubi, 40%, and the Big Gold Strike, 0. So it looks like everybody seems to agree with you. But the most votes was both equally, which I like. I'm glad they liked them both equally, so that's good. And I don't like comparing two episodes against each other, but YouTube only gives us 4 options, so I'm not able to, I'm very limited on what I can put in our polls. So thank you for voting, everybody. I really appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. I know we had Euler Greg, our new visitor, Kyle V in the CV, and we had Gap After Dark. We had LDG. By the way, another channel I want to recommend everybody. I want to shout out LDG Free the Net. Let's see here. Go ahead. What was that? Let me see if my.
I couldn't hear anything there.
Sorry about that. Because then my mic, I'm trying to prevent it from cutting out like it was doing last week.
No, it wasn't your mic. It was my.
And of course, my bot's not working. I'm trying to trigger to put the links to your channels in the chat, and it's not working. Shame on you, Stream Elements. But if you're listening and you can hear me, please check out LDG's channel, LDG Free the Net, and Gap After Dark has a wonderful channel too that Gorilla was telling me about. And Gap, if you can hear me, I will be checking out your channel. Euler Greg, I want to mention, also has a wonderful channel. Euler Greg on YouTube has some great reviews of some classic movies and TV shows also. So shout out to all you guys in the chat. Thank you for being here. The show would be nothing without you, and you guys make it all the better. I love bringing all these different opinions into the room. But most of all, I wanted to thank, it looks like we may have lost, Gorilla, are you there? Can you hear me? I think Gorilla might be having a few audio issues. Oh, there goes Gorilla. He'll probably be back. I was hoping he'd come back so he can kind of plug his channel there. And Ola Greg says, good night, everybody. And there's me trying to trigger my bot. I was trying to post everyone's links in the channel, and unfortunately, my Stream Elements bot's not working. So I need to figure out what's going on with that. Oops. We'll see here. We'll get Gorilla up in there. Are you there? Hello, hello.
Yeah, for some reason my computer didn't give me a low battery warning until it shut off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there something wrong with your power supply?
Yeah, it's a piece of shit.
Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that. Gorilla, I was just getting ready to ask you if you would like to tell us about your channel before we go.
Well, tonight on Wednesdays there we do Stranger Things before I come over to Gilligan's Island review. On Thursdays, except for this week, I decided to cancel it all together. We're gonna be reviewing The Waltons. Our next one is The Carnival. Saturdays we watch and live react to Babylon 5, 2 episodes of that. Then we are starting our 6 weeks of Christmas with Ernest Saves Christmas on Sunday. And tonight here I'm going to do, in a little bit here, I'm going to do a Come Chat As I Die in Minecraft stream.
Very cool. I highly recommend you guys try those out. It's very fun. On my channel here, as you can see here, every Wednesday we do a Gilligan's Island stream. We cover 2 episodes of the Gilligan's Island series. On Mondays, I have a review of Star Trek, the animated series, every Monday. And on Tuesday, you can catch me on Anti-Derivative Jill's channel on YouTube, where we do reviews of Star Trek, the original series. So if you like Star Trek, the original series, that is a really good stream. You will learn a lot more than you ever thought you would. You may think you're a Star Trek fan, but I guarantee you're always going to learn something new from our streams.
Hey, we still need to talk Jill into get on the Jeopardy there to show up Tokyo and Cinnabon.
Have her do, I'm sorry, what?
Just get her to go on to Jeopardy on Saturdays to show up Tokyo and Cinnabon.
Okay, Out of all that you just said, I only know antiderivative Jill. I don't know the other things.
Well, we need to get her on Jeopardy on Saturday nights to show up.
Okay, well, wait, hold on. What is Jep Nerdy, first of all? Because I don't know.
It's Star Trek Jeopardy that John DeMarco hosts. It's just like Jeopardy, only it's all Star Trek questions.
Wait a minute, isn't that the show that Bird was saying that he's only talking about Doctor Who right now?
No, that's Question of Trek.
Okay. Whose channel are you saying that has Jep Nerdy?
John DeMarco's.
Okay, I'd rather not talk about him right now if that's okay.
No, but I'm just saying we gotta get her on that to show him up.
Okay. Antiderivative Jill, for anybody listening, I highly recommend her. She's excellent. She's very smart and hilarious, and she has a wonderful channel. She just reached a little over 300 subs, so I'm very proud of her, and I'm happy. Her and I started our channels around the same time, and I'll put it this way, she has 3 times more subs than I do, so she's doing something right that I'm not, right? And Kyle V in the CV says, "Good night, gents. Have a great Thanksgiving. You too, Kyle. Take care. All right. I hope to see you on the next stream. And also on my stream, randomly I'll have a streams I call Rumble in the Labs, where I'll have open topics, open mic, where anybody is welcome to come on the panel, and we just discuss whatever we want, whatever is the topic of the day, whatever people happen to think of. Any of that's good." Okay, so I'm going to be cutting this stream, and I guess we're going on about an hour and 43 minutes, so it'll be about an hour and 45 minutes total. I want to thank once again all of you in the chat for being here. You guys were wonderful, and you really do mean a lot to me. And Gorilla, thank you for being here tonight to help me with the stream. I know you're busy and you have a lot of plans tomorrow. If you do have a stream tonight on your channel for your Minecraft, I will be there. I'm not doing a lot tonight, so. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Thank you, everybody on the rerun. Please like and subscribe, hit the alert button, and share this out, because right now YouTube is not sharing out a lot of live content. And I want you all to have a wonderful week. Take care.